Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the JK Experience. Jamesy.
When you drink light beer before your podcast, does it make it better? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. I guess it's another podcast. Same beer though. We're cutting them back to back. So
We are.
I want everybody to know that. It's the same beer. You can see
Nursing
the
it.
same situation, same shirt. It's nothing different. These are just happen to be back to back. Played on different days though for everybody. Everybody knowing. So, all right, man. Let's just keep rocking, dude. I'm excited. I'm excited about. I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous, man. Anytime that anytime I try to quote like anything scripture or even just like another person's quote, I'm like,
or historical.
Get it right. Because I guarantee there's people out there listening like that is not how that was said, or that was not what that meant. And this is when our BS our BS meter comes up right now.
There's some troll in a basement somewhere like, no, that's not true. That's historically
But if
inaccurate.
he loves the JK Experience, bro, I don't care. Like,
I love you, man. Hey, love our trolls.
More power to you, dude. Like, seriously. Man, I really am excited about talking about today's conversation. It's just because, as you know, something about me is that I'm very like internal. I try to just internalize so many things. Some of it, so much of it is to like my detriment.
Yes.
And Kate just does not appreciate that about me. And obviously it sounds like you don't either. So
I don't know what you're talking about. No, I mean, you do. You tend to internalize a lot of stuff. And the stuff that I think is crazy is the stuff that you have just no control over, right? And you try to own it. And I'm like, why are you doing that, Josh? Like, don't do this. So, but it's a quirk.
Yeah, it is definitely a quirk, and I'm left-handed, so I blame it on the fact, for those of you out there that are left-handed, you're just different and a little bit weird and off, but we're also pretty amazing, by the way. So I would just say more power to us lefties out there.
Creative folks we are.
Exactly, right? Yes, that's right, because you're lefty-handed too, man. Look at you, you're writing over there. Yeah, you're right. Duh. More like high five. There we go. Okay, so I was, I had this kind of come to me, and once again, I do a lot of introspective thinking, and then I just have a lot of quiet time in my world. Most of the time I try to do that. I know it's a really powerful moment for me. And it's part of my morning routine. It's part of my it's even actually a part of my evening routine as I'm in bed just before I fall asleep. And I had this, for those of you that are people that read the Bible, there's a verse out of Matthew 25, and it talks about an owner that had 3 servants, and it was the oh gosh, I can't even think of this. It was a guy that had 3 servants, and he had 3. I'm going to stop this.
All right, no, go ahead.
This is stupid.
Do we want to start over?
Golly, we're not gonna stop.
Okay,
this. Oh my gosh, I know.
So here's what it was.
I know what I'm trying to say.
Was it the 3 talents?
It was it was the 3 talents. What I was trying to think of is no. It's exactly. It was the master that had 3 servants, and he was leaving, and he was given the talents away. So I just couldn't get the master of the servants. Okay, so that's what it was. So it's a scripture, Matthew 25. God, that was a total debacle right there. I'm so sorry. Right? We're trying to make this a 30-minute podcast. Is what we're trying to do.
Buying time.
Oh my gosh, this is our first rodeo, by the way, right? So there's a master, servants. And he's going to leave on a trip, and he gives them these talents, right? So he gives the first one 5 talents. He gives the second one 3 talents, and he gives he doesn't?
2 talents.
2 talents?
There was 8 total.
All right, 2 and then 1.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you. Correct. Tell the story, James.
Okay, so in Matthew, and listen, hey, this is not my story to tell this. So Josh brought this up, and I first of all, I want to explain this. Josh is very spiritual person, and I think he sometimes struggles with bringing the spiritual element into the podcast.
Not
right?
Sometimes, definitely do.
Because and for no good reason, right? Because I'm going to tell you guys this. I'm just going to lay this out there. I have always been a believer. I've always been a believer in God. I was raised very religious. My dad was a Pentecostal minister, but I got away from all that. Now, I've always been a spiritual person, but I'm going to tell you this. My faith is nothing but stronger since I paired up with this dude. And because I just keep seeing it again and again and again, and I see the way he behaves, and I see the way that that he acts as a Christian man, and I go, man, I need more of that in my life. And so because of that, I don't feel like you ever need to be like apologetic for that. And I think the other part of that is you're a little bit afraid to put this out there because maybe not everybody believes the same way that you and I do. And that's okay too, guys. We're not throwing this on you. We're letting you know how this is relevant to our world.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that. You're right. I mean, that's the story in my head in the sense. I mean, I want to be known more for what I do than what I say, right?
Absolutely.
In that aspect. So when it comes to my faith, listen, if we want to have a personal, intimate conversation, I'm an open book and we're going to talk about it. But I want this podcast to be a reflection of like how we're living our life, not necessarily for me to get on the pulpit and start to preach to you about a scripture, right?
Yeah,
and so that's the only thing I'm really that I try to be very sensitive with everybody on. But hey, listen, okay, thanks. You opened the door. I'm going to walk right through it. All right. No, so I really do appreciate that because that's kind of why I was just like, through this. Okay. So, but it's a great parable though. I mean, and here's the reason why I just love this parable because, for years, I always looked at that scripture as talents as the money part of it. Right. And listen, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, like talents are tremendously expensive. Like they're not like, hey, here's $5. So I'm going to give you $25 and you $10 and you $5, right? No, like in today's modern times, if you actually equivalated that into what they're for every kilogram of gold, what it was worth, like a talent was usually 33 kilograms, right? And so if you factor that into what our gold standard is right now, that's $1.4 million, dude. Like that's insane, right? And one dude got 5 of them, right? So for the master to give a servant that many, and then to give another servant, $2.8 million, and to give the third of them only 1, you're like, oh, poor guy, you only get 1.4 million. But I mean, that's the severity of this, right? So I really appreciated that part of it once I got to understand what the master was really, truly doing. Because obviously, as a master, if you're giving somebody that much money, right, you have a lot of trust in them. Right. And you might have more trust in the one that you gave 5 and you have some trust in the one that 2, but even the one that you gave 1 to, you still there's still a tremendous amount of trust. I mean, just think about that. Like you give somebody, like give your kids, $10,000, $5,000, and then $1,000. You trust them all because you've given them a significant amount of money.
You bet. Yeah, and I think that's, sometimes that gets lost in the interpretation, right? Because we go, 5 talents. Great.
Right.
What does that mean, right?
5 pennies.
It's like getting poker chips at the casino, right?
Yes.
They don't really have a value to them.
Right.
But I'm glad that you pointed that out. $1.4 million.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a huge responsibility.
It is. It's a tremendous amount of responsibility, right? So going back to this, like that's why I always thought of this scripture of kind of like, so what you're talking about is money, and then if God gives you money, this is the responsibility you have to go out there and be fruitful with it and multiply that, right? Okay, cool. All right, that's great. I get it. All right, fantastic. But here's the thing, until recently, right? Until all of this stuff has happened, right? In our world, when everything just got changed and just flipped upside down and all this uncertainty, all this chaos, all this stuff, it was amazing how this scripture came back into my life and I had a completely different interpretation for what talents were. And so, we have modern talents, right? Not necessarily talents of a value of money, but we all have talents, right? We all have been given a gift or gifts in our life, right? And it was kind of like that aha moment where it just kind of clicked for me, where I said, okay, because we've been asking our leaders, we've been asking all of those leaders within our companies and even our agents within our companies as well too, which they're all leaders as well, to say, hey, listen, how are you showing up right now for everybody else? How are you using your talents to show up for people, right? And then all of a sudden there's like this connection for me and I go, wait a second. We've all been given talents. There's a parable about talents. That was financial, but this is personal. How does that relate to each other in this moment, right? And so my question to you, our audience, those that are listening, is how are you using your talents that you've been given in moments like this, right? And in the parable, right, this is what's so important about it, is that the first servant was given 5 and he went out and multiplied it, and he brought 5 back, right? So he multiplied it and had 10. The second one did the same, multiplied his 2 talents and multiplied it by 2 and had 4. The third one, here's the thing, thinking that, hey, listen, I have so much respect for my master. I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this gift that they've given to me. So I'm going to bury it. I'm just going to bury it so that when the master comes back, guess what? It's still going to be there and I'm not going to lose it, right? Well, the master didn't give it to him to bury it. The master wasn't worried about him losing it. The master was wanting him to go out there and be fruitful with it and to actually multiply it, right? So look at your life in that, right? You've been giving talents, right? You've got talents. I've got talents. You listening have talents, whether you believe it or not. How are you multiplying and using those talents to help other people in this moment?
Yeah, it comes down to, are you a steward of those talents, or are you just a possessor of those talents?
Yeah.
Right? What are you doing with them? We're all called to do something. Mm-hmm. And whether your talents are in real estate or finance or medical or health,
yeah.
What are you doing with them, right? You've been blessed with these things at some point in your life. How are you using them? Are you saving them for a rainy day? Are you implementing them right now? And I'm going to tell you this. We see this right now. So much of what's going on in our world today is people are being called on to use those talents.
Yeah.
The people who are using them are bright, shining stars, great examples of what you do with those talents.
Right. Yeah. And I would tell you that, absolutely, I would agree with that. I would also say this too, this is right now, this is where people are discovering their identity and their talents and that too, right? Like there's no greater time through adversity. There's no greater time through challenges to really understand, like, you have a talent here. Like you have to nurture that talent, right? I can't tell you how proud I am of so many of our leaders that are stepping up in this moment, doing things they were completely uncomfortable with before, right? Yep. And they're discovering, man, I'm actually pretty good at that. Or, man, I kind of have a talent in doing this. And you're like, absolutely, right? And it's that kind of like that parable, right? If all you do is bury it, all you do is hide it, all you do is not show it and help other people with that talent that you've been given, you'll never truly appreciate what you've been given, right? Yeah. You're just, once again, you're scared. And we might see that you have this talent, but if you're scared to put it out there and multiply it, you will never experience the greatness that you possibly have.
Yeah, just look at the people around you, and if you can recognize something in them, a talent in them, as a leader, if you're not helping them expose that, then you're not truly using your talents that you've been given. So
what does that look like? I guess here's the other thing. It's like, okay, well, that's awesome, Josh. I mean, if it's a talent, you can multiply that, but how do you multiply your talent, right? And here's what I would say is that you multiply your talent by putting yourself out there, obviously making yourself a little bit uncomfortable, especially if it's something different and new. But by putting it out there, the impact that your talent is making. So you talked about right now, nurses, doctors, people that are working at the hospitals, right? They have been given a talent that they are making tremendous impact right now, right? They are putting themselves in very uncomfortable situations, very high stress situations. They are answering the call and they are helping other people and they're multiplying. There's no doubt about it, right? And then you have those that are drawing back and hiding and burying their heads. And so that's the practical application of this right now, is that in times like this, you own a business. Are you in the forefront? Are you stepping into that? Are you going out and making sure, hey, listen, what's my 30-day plan, my 60-day plan? What's my plan B? What's plan C, right? Are you doing those things? Are you going, hey, you know what, man? Listen, I know that I'll live to fight another day, and I'm just gonna let everybody go. I got money for reserves. I'll go ahead and I'm gonna be fine for the next 3 months, 4 months. And then when everything's good, then I'll be back in and I'm going to show up. That is not using your talents. I will tell you that right now. That's taking care of yourself, by the way. That's once again, we had an episode where we're like, that's not being married to your business, by the way. It's being married to yourself, by the way. But that's not using your talents if you're doing that.
I would liken that in the parable. I would liken that third guy, right?
Yes.
He's just burying that deep down, waiting for the storm to pass.
Yes.
And then he's going to show back up and go, hey, look, I survived.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not merely about surviving.
That's exactly right. And I think that once again, we can convince ourselves, by the way, especially if you're leading an organization, oh, this is the right thing. Yeah, I should be doing this. And this is smart. And I'm going to take it, I'm going to do the right thing. This is exactly what so-and-so would tell me to do. Right. I would tell you, you have to have a gut check.
Yeah.
You better make sure that you look yourself in the mirror. You better make sure that you are spending time in silence and not listening to yourself, but you might be hopefully listening to something bigger and greater than you. Because I will tell you, running away, burying your head, pulling back, taking all the money, and not helping other people that have depended on you, that have promised their careers to you, and not showing up for them, that is not the right action. And I know I'm kind of getting intense with that, but I will tell you, I've heard stories after stories of business owners doing that, and I do not applaud that. Once again, you go back to this whole thing. Are you married to your business, right? You should be in the forefront of that. You should be the one going out there and dying on your sword for your business, because your business is people, by the way.
You bet.
This isn't a product that, especially in our business, I'm talking about real estate right now, by the way. Your business is people, not a product. And you gotta realize that.
Well, look at, I'm going to use an example. Look at how many people we come into contact with just recently with everything that's going on and the uncertainty in the world. And you brought up the SBA relief funds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Look at how many of those people who are like, oh yeah, I didn't know anything about those, or I'm going to wait until they're ready to go. And you had to tell those other business owners, no, now is the time to get on those. Even if you end up not needing it, it's better to have it in place now so that you use it. Again, what were they waiting for? Okay. I'm curious.
They were waiting for the other shoe to drop. It's not going to get that bad. Yeah. Right. I mean, and once again, but here's the thing too, is that I will say for in all humility as well, that was me in 2008,
sure,
or that was me in 2015. And so, this has been an evolution in my life to realize the responsibility that I have towards not only the company, but to the other people. Right. And so, and first of all, and listen, we're going to get through all this. Mm-hmm. We have no doubt about that. And there's going to be lessons that I'm going to learn. There's going to be lessons that I'm going to go, man, I didn't do that right.
Yeah.
I should have done this one better, or I wish I'd have been more prepared for this. But I will tell you this, I am trying to make the best decision that we can make together, because it's not all of me, just me, but we're in this, given the information that we've got. And now all it is right now is about absorbing as much information as we possibly can get.
Yeah, and I think definitely one of your talents is learning from those previous economic downturns. Yeah. And I see it again. I see you reaching, and I hear you reaching out to people, other business owners, non-related business owners, saying, "Hey, this money's out there. You better be working on it."
Yeah.
And that is you multiplying those talents.
Yeah. It's so important, man. Once again, life lessons, and then how do you pour into the lives of other people? It is, listen, you've got to look for opportunities to share your talents. You've got to look for opportunities to put those talents to use, because listen, I really believe we have all been given greatness. We have all been given greatness, man. And I kind of get emotional about that because, for many, many years, I felt like I lost my greatness. I felt like that I ruined my greatness. And it wasn't until recent years that I discovered that, that part of my life was not my greatness, mm-hmm. right? That part of my life was helping me get to the chapter and unveiling the opportunity for me to discover my true greatness, right? And for many of you guys out there right now, you're going to go through hell. You're going to go through some really, really hard times pretty soon, if you're not already there. And you have an opportunity to discover your greatness. You have an opportunity to discover everything that you're supposed to be. And life is happening for you right now. And it sucks. And it's hard to be like, how is life happening to me when I'm having to let people go, or I'm losing business, or I'm going to have to shut the doors, or whatever? I don't know that answer. you have to figure that answer out. You have to do soul searching. You have to figure out what those talents are that you have that are going to be discovered through this process. But I will tell you, you will live to see another day. You will live to come out of this. You will become better out of this if you choose to. Right? We know, dude, like we've had so many conversations as a leadership. We're going to have another conversation again very soon, obviously talking about those next steps and what what's their next 30 days look like. And we know that we're going to have to go farther down before we go up. Like we know the pit, we're not in the pit yet. We know we're not there yet, but we do know that when we get there, we're going to be as prepared as we possibly can be. We're going to make adjustments. And then we're going to climb out as fast as we possibly can, given the talents that we all have together collectively, because we have one goal. We have one vision. We have one just cause, right?
Yep. Hey, Josh, regret is a horrible, horrible thing. And I've been on the receiving end of regret where I had the misfortune of handing somebody their check and saying, hey, this is your check. You don't work here anymore because we're out of business. We're done. And good luck to you, right? Now, the regret comes when you go, what could I have done different? How could I have increased my efforts to try to change that outcome, or maybe just delay that outcome? The thing that I love about being affiliated with your companies is you're never reactive. You're always proactive. And that's what you said. We're going to look at the next 30 days and go, hey, when we do hit the bottom, our feet are going to be moving.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy. Oh man, that got a little more emotional than I thought I was gonna.
Sure.
For sure. But obviously, I mean, you guys, I'm tremendously passionate about business owners because I know the weight that we bear, the weight that you bear on your shoulders. I know the sleepless nights. I know what you're going through because we're going through it, and. Once again, I can't promise that it's not going to be hurtful, that it's not going to be painful, but I can tell you it is going to be worth it. Once again, the question that I keep asking myself, that I hope that you keep asking yourself, is how will people remember you through this time? And most importantly, how will you remember yourself through this time? When you've got to make those tough decisions, or when you just, when you're waking up out of bed and you just I don't want to go in today, or I can't go make that phone call today, or I can't do this today, and you just want to crawl back into bed, which I think a lot of people want to. I would just encourage you, there are people needing you to show up for them now more than ever. There are people counting on you to lead the way, not have the answers, not having all the answers, but knowing that you're just going to be there to support them because you are the leader. You are the leader in your organization, and people have entrusted their livelihood to you, and you will figure out a way. I promise you will figure out a way. And so I want people to have that encouragement to know that you can do this. We're going to do this. We know that you can do this, and together we will rise out of this. So.
I love it. Strong words, man.
All right, buddy. Well, that's what I got, dude, man. I'm going to finish that beer. Hey, as always, I hope you guys, I know you found value in this, so share this. Push this into somebody else that needs to hear this.